Starnberger See?
Starnberger See, yeah.
Have you seen some naked German people?
Actually, we did at the ESA.
Just down the road.
How does feel about that?
Oh.
Welcome to Europe, my friend. European make out in public hard.
Yeah.
Just outrageous.
It was just
It was right in there. The hardest part about being in Munich
Yeah.
is probably, for me, leaving Munich. I'm going home at the end of my visa.
All right.
Okay.
Wow.
This is stupid.
Delicious.
Okay.
All right.
First sip. Cheers,
First,
everyone.
cheers first.
Prost.
First of all,
Prost.
thanks for not giving me the opportunity to do that.
No worries.
Mm.
Yum.
Whoa. Yum.
Almost kind of tastes like cinnamony.
Let me spit out the egg white.
For context,
Yeah.
Vincent made his drink awfully eggy.
A little bit too much, but it's okay. So let me talk to the camera a bit to introduce a little bit. So welcome to the first episode of the Foreigners in Foreign Land. This is a series of podcasts which I will interview my other foreigner friends who are also living abroad to share our experiences, what it is to live abroad. I will personally make a cocktail for my guests all the time, and we will just enjoy our drinks and share a freestyle wild conversation regarding our experiences living in another country. This is the first show, first episode, and we are today here with my friend from New Zealand, Scarlett and Liam.
Yeah, well, Scarlett, do you want to kick it off?
Yeah, sure. My name's Scarlett. I'm from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm Liam. I'm also from New Zealand.
And I'm your host, Vincent. I'm Chinese.
Nice.
Great. Well, also, just before we crack into it too deeply, I'll have to apologise for I mumble a lot and I talk really fast.
And you have a very thick accent.
And I have a very strong New Zealand accent, so apologies to anyone that may be listening at some point.
Yes.
Yeah, and also that was a beautiful round 3.
Yeah.
Good work, Vincent. And beautiful,
Thank you.
beautiful,
Let's just,
beautiful cocktail as well.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Let's just have a conversation. It doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
if things goes too wrong, yeah. So how are you guys?
Good.
Great.
Good.
A little bit tired, a little bit sunburnt.
Yeah.
Well, we decided to go out to Erding in the north of Munich, which is
Still in Munich. Is this still
Yeah,
in
it's
Munich?
north of
Yes,
Munich.
it's near the airport actually.
Yeah.
Big water park, basically water park / hotel
Yeah.
/
Holiday.
just holiday resort
getaway
area. A home away from home, I guess, was the intention. I don't know. But yeah, it was a great day out there.
Who did you go with?
It was just myself, Scarlett, and our Ukrainian friend Valeria.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
was
Nice
fun.
weather. The summer in Munich is back.
Yes, and Liam got very burnt.
yeah.
Some white
Turns
people
out the
problem.
sun is
Yeah, look
strong.
at that.
Turns out the sun is strong in Europe,
Yeah.
contrary to our belief before.
Yeah, that's okay though.
So how long have you guys been in Germany for? Until now.
We have been here since halfway through January, so 4.5 months. Almost
No,
4
almost
months?
almost 4 months.
Almost 4 months. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've been here since the middle of January. We spent a couple of weeks in the Netherlands and Austria before we settled into our apartment, which here we are tonight.
Yeah. Last weekend,
I hope-
you guys staying
This
here.
is
Yes, this
Hotel
is-
Hotel Badestrasse.
Yeah.
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 Yes, so yeah, we moved in at the beginning of February and we've just been enjoying Munich, making the most of it, meeting friends, such as yourself.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, our time in Munich will come to an end next week,
Yeah.
and we are heading to Berlin.
So why? Why are you leaving Munich? What's the reason behind it?
Well, you could say maybe it's the warm weather, because like the reason we came to Munich was mostly for snowboarding, because it's so close to Austria and the Alps. Now it's warm and the snow's all dried up. So.
The snow has
Has
the
disappeared.
snow has dried up.
So
Yeah.
has it ever been on your choice, for example, to go to Innsbruck as a destination?
Liam's been keen on it.
Honestly,
Like, so why Munich if you are...
So, okay, so if I go back a little bit, so Munich, I came here once with a bunch of my close friends in 2019, and I really liked it. I was absolutely trash drunk the whole time, but loved it nonetheless. I knew it was a
What we're
place.
trying to do right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of that. And I loved it. And so essentially about a year ago in January 2022, Scarlett and I had a conversation about, okay, what are our plans? What do we want to do? We both wanted to travel and move overseas. My sort of traveling wet dream is to is to move to Canada and just do snowboarding in the winter and summer activities in the summer. Scarlett wanted to go to Berlin and pursue a career in filmmaking. Berlin as a snowboarding destination is not so great, so we compromised and decided to spend the remainder of the winter in Munich so that I could get some action on the mountain, and then we see where things take us, and they are taking us to Berlin.
Yeah, it's been a really
Did you
great
make
time.
the most out of the mountains here?
I-
think it's snowboarding
I would
a
say
lot.
for sure we have.
Yeah,
Like we have been to at least 8 or 9 different places
Yeah.
within Austria and Germany.
Yeah, we went to a lot of different ski fields. I probably had about 15 or so days on the season, which is pretty good. Like, I can't complain about that. In my ideal world, I'd be doing it every day. But when you're trying to, work and earn the money to go and do that, and you live in Munich, it's not as possible. So just the weekend trips are essential.
But very doable. Like a day trip is very
Yeah.
easy to do from here.
Yeah, so one thing that's so great about Munich for that kind of stuff is that we're only 2 hours away from Innsbruck, which is
There's even snowboarding field closer, right?
Yeah, in Germany.
Yeah.
In Bavaria, in the south of Bavaria, like an hour away, there's about 3 different fields. They're small sort of family ones for the ski nerds out there, but no, it's been really fun and I've enjoyed it a lot. So.
Yeah.
Glad to hear.
Yeah.
So has it been any cultural shock for you coming from New Zealand, living in Europe? Is it your first time living in Europe?
Yes, it's our first time. We
Yeah.
both visited in the past, but never lived.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think initially there was some culture shocks. I think because I hadn't been to Germany before, but Liam had, and Liam told me last time he was here he didn't even know how to say hello in the local language. So I kind of and he got by well apparently. So I kind of assumed it would be fine, speaking English. Although I had been learning German off and on for a few years. So I was thinking,
Können Sie Deutsch sprechen oder?
ein bisschen.
Bisschen, ja, sehr gut.
Yeah.
Und für dich, Leo?
Mein Deutsch ist sehr scheiße. Aber
We are just 3 foreigners that don't speak German at all.
yeah, our knowledge is between the 3 of us. We could, if we combine
Have
all of our
some
knowledge,
kind of conversation.
We can order a pizza.
yeah.
So initially the language was kind of a bit of a shock because when you go into a shop, people will speak German to you. And if you ask them if they speak English or if you just speak English, most of the time it's perfectly fine. But just initially arriving here and just everything's in German, people speak German to you is just different in my head from what I had heard from Liam's experience. But yeah, obviously you can get by with English, but that was a little bit of a shock.
Yeah, my tourist experience was definitely a bit of a breeze. All 5 of us that were with each other, we didn't know what to expect and we kind of just bounced off each other. So it kind of took the stress away. But when it's just yourself or just you and your partner, it's all of a sudden you're kind of looking at each other thinking, oh my God.
But just imagine this scenario. If you've been living in Munich, Germany for 5 years, and then somebody come to you, and if they started to speak English right away, would you feel offended?
No. Well, no, because
would
English
you be
is
like,
our-
oh, do you not expecting me to speak German at all?
Do you think that's because of how we look or just because we've been here for so long? Is
No,
it-
I mean just for example, in Finland, people will always come to me to speak Finnish to me, even though I don't look Finnish at all and I don't speak
Right.
Finnish at all. But they would they would afraid that if they just assume that I'm not finished is offensive to me,
Right.
which for me it's not. But I'm
Right.
just curious for you guys
I
don't-
because you could easily be German.
I wouldn't be offended, but I'm not going to lie. If someone comes up and assumes I'm a tourist straight away,
It does hurt a little
It
bit.
does make me like slightly defensive.
Yeah.
So I mean, a small example of that was literally yesterday. I was in a surf shop returning a surfboard which I had just recently used, and the girl behind the desk sort of said, "Oh, did you like it?" And I said, "Yeah, it was really great." And she's like, "Oh, so you know, like you hire it again, or you'll be back, or like when do you leave Munich?" Essentially, she was assuming that I was just a foreigner that had come to Munich for a few days and hired a surfboard, and I was like, "Oh, no, I live here," and she was like, "Oh, okay." Kind of looked at me a bit strange. I guess I wasn't that convincing, but yeah, things like that I guess tend to make me a little bit defensive. But
Yeah, speaking of surfing, I saw you on Instagram. You just did the most Munich shit ever. You were surfing on an artificial wave, if I can call it that way.
Yeah,
How was it?
Yeah.
Did you have any experience surfing before?
yeah, so I've been surfing for the last 5 years in New Zealand since I finished university.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you say, very Munich thing to go surfing on one of the rivers in the city. They've built these artificial
But
canals that form river waves.
it's never intended for surfing, right? It's not the intention of.
So I believe the main one actually was, because from what I've heard, the whoever runs the city tolerates it and just lets it happen, but they don't want to take responsibility if anything goes wrong. But I mean, it's all signposted with all the information for surfers and everything. So I think it's encouraged.
So there's a sign there written in German, I believe, that your
Yes.
life is.
Life is danger. Yes,
And
it's
your own
forbidden to swim. Danger of life. Yeah.
Yeah. So the
Which
one.
is
So where I was. So there's actually two waves. There's a bigger one and there's a smaller one.
Yeah, the smaller one
for
is
beginners.
called for beginner, right?
Yeah.
But you guys went to the advanced level one.
Nah,
No, they were in the beginner one.
we're on the smaller
right.
one. Yeah.
But isn't it the bridge close to?
Yeah, they weren't at that. They were
You
further.
weren't? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're at
It looks
the-
similar.
So
Loose.
we got into the water just behind the big one and
Right.
paddled our way down.
Yeah.
But it was super fun. Yeah, like I said, I've been surfing for a while, but man, I was seriously humbled. I did not stay on my board for more than like a few seconds, and took a lot of slams, and I lost my hat, and I got cold, and it was just an all-round great time.
A lovely day, a great weather.
Oh yeah, the weather was stunning. Like the Munich weather has just started kicking out.
People do that also in winter. When it's a minus
Yeah,
something, they just
yeah.
do it and then they put like LED light there,
yeah.
and they just do it also in the evening.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
crazy.
It must be freezing.
Yeah. So, like, what else have you done in this summer? No, I guess it's summer now.
Is it summer yet?
No, not yet.
No, not yet. And
Feels
about
like
actually only in like 5 or 6 days.
My neck would tell you otherwise.
We recently visited Starnberger See.
Starnberger See. Yeah.
Have you seen
So-
some naked German people?
Just
Actually, we did at the ESA.
just down the road.
How does feel about that?
Well,
Welcome to Europe, my
ha-
friend.
ha-
Welcome to Germany.
It was a little bit of a shock, but the funny thing, like it wasn't like okay. Initially, it was like wow, they're naked, bit weird. But the funny thing was that they had this pizza, because they were napping naked, and they had this pizza, and
So they were. Sorry to interrupt.
yes,
They were just sleeping naked.
just sleeping
then
naked,
people
like
just walking by.
I suppose
in
tanning.
fetal position, nonetheless.
Yeah, so
And then people just walking by and
Yeah.
like, they were fully like
Yeah.
now cold.
So we had a great view. But so they had this pizza that I guess they had half eaten and then had a nap. And we were watching and this big crow comes over and opens the box and starts like eating at this pizza. And then this dog comes over and kind of like sniffs, licks the pizza, walks away. And then about like 10 minutes later, they wake up from their nap, just grabs a slice of pizza and starts eating it. And I just thought it was quite funny.
Yeah, I mean that's not really related to the fact
No,
that
it's
there's
not.
nude people.
Sorry, it's not
That's a
related.
tangent.
That was just funny. So,
But yeah, so yeah, we were down at the main river that runs through Munich the other day, and when the sun turns on, that's where everyone goes. And there was thousands of people on the bank of the river just enjoying the sun, swimming in the water, drinking some beers, and there was just one couple completely nude.
Now,
Just
when you're talking about completely nude, like bottomless.
Yeah.
everything for
You
show.
could see every. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. No, like he was just living his life, you
Happened
know.
in Asia,
You
in
wouldn't?
my country.
Yeah.
So with that information, how do you feel about not being there? Where were you then, actually?
What?
Where were you when we were down there the other day?
I think you're on a
probably
bike ride, maybe.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you
or
missed
editing
out.
video.
So you
Yeah.
missed out on the nature.
Yeah, but I have seen those kind of thing in Isa, in
Yeah.
English Garden. The thing about like living in Europe, seeing this thing is that you have to act normal.
Mm.
Even
Yeah,
though
I'm
I don't see this thing day to day.
I'm not good at it. I'm sorry. I do the
Like-
German stare.
Like the thing is, I respect what you want to do with your body and whatever you do, but you know I don't see that day to day in my country. So when I saw it for
Yeah.
the first time, like deep down, I was shocked, but I mean. I get used to it. Like I
And
live
it-
in Germany more than 2 years now. I've seen enough.
And it is hard not to look when
Yeah.
you're not used to it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so should I look or should I not look?
oh,
Yeah.
Would I be judged if I look?
the Scarlett was.
I'll be honest. I was looking, but it was just because it was a shock to me.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to
Imagine
be
you
perfect.
walking. Sorry. Imagine you walking topless by Isa because you think you're enjoying the sun. And what if people stare at you?
Yeah.
What
I
if
don't
Liam
know.
walk by and stare at you? Should he be judged?
Look, I don't know. I just think let people do what they want. I guess.
For sure, let people do what they want, but
Yeah,
at the end of the day,
yeah.
we're biological
Yeah.
testosterone-filled
And-
men.
Yeah. So
I mean,
that's a
yeah.
good point. Yeah. So that for me as well is also a culture shock.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it is a difference, but
I don't know if it's the same. Yeah, I believe in France, in Spain, they do.
Oh
that.
yeah, I
Maybe
remember
more than here.
actually when I went on holiday to France when I was maybe like 11. We went to this beach and there was just topless women everywhere, and I was just like, it was a
Say my
shock to
location,
me.
please.
Oh my gosh, it was Nice. No, but that was a bit of a.
Nice.
It was a shock to me, but like fully naked, no, it was the first time. So, first time for everything, I guess.
but I've actually brought it up a few times in the last few days. Germany. One thing that I find really interesting about Germany is that it's got a reputation for people really following the rules. There's always bureaucracy where you have to do things a certain way. The government can be very difficult, and if that's the rules, that's the rules. That they're not going to compromise. But on the other hand, there's so much stuff that goes on in Germany, or at least in my experience so far, where there's utmost freedom as well. For example, like in New Zealand, you can't just go around drinking beers in public anywhere you want,
Or on the public transport.
or on public transport, you'd get in trouble by police. You can't just go up on a bridge overhanging a railway with traffic behind you watching the sunset, because in New Zealand someone might tell you that's too dangerous.
Yeah.
Here they don't care.
Yeah, that's true.
At things like when they have the big celebrations like Frühlingsfest, which is
Yeah.
the spring celebration, or Oktoberfest, half of the rides look like they shouldn't be legal. Like they're falling apart. But yet there's just...
I thought it's quite well.
I mean, they're probably safer than they look, but there'll
Okay.
just be one dude pushing the button to start and stop.
Yeah,
and
right.
it's just like... And it's just... There's not really any regulation.
And then wearing helmet, that's what I heard.
Oh,
Yeah,
About
on a
cycling.
bike.
Yeah, no one
Yeah.
cares about wearing a helmet. No one will tell you off for it. Everyone's just living their life, and it seems to work fine. So yeah, there's this side of it where there's this bureaucracy and following the rules and processes, but then there's something really like free about the country, more so than like New Zealand as well, which is really fun and really nice,
It feels-
and it's just a really nice feeling.
Yeah, it feels like they kind of just trust you.
Yeah,
It's kind of
you're
nice.
just well. Actually, I think what it comes down to is that people will take responsibility for their own shit, but they won't take. The ethic is, if you want to do something stupid, that's on you if it goes bad.
Yeah,
and they're not
that's
going to
true.
help you out. But at least they let you just do it. And if you make the mistake yourself, then you make that mistake. In New Zealand, I think there's more of a bubble wrapping, culture.
What about from religious point of view? like, compared to Europe and New Zealand? Like, how do people look at
It's
religious?
probably like, obviously it's more religious here, but we don't come across that much of it.
I think from my feeling on it so far is quite similar. Actually, I think a lot of my friends in New Zealand aren't. They might identify with a religion, but they are pretty chill. Like go out and enjoy themselves and things. And it seems to be that way here. But then there is the other side of it where there might be around Easter time. I walk past the city square and there's some dudes dressed up in full traditional Catholic robes doing like singing in Latin.
Yeah.
So they I think they go harder on like religious celebrations. But the way
You mean German?
in Germany,
Yeah.
Okay.
but
Yeah, fair. Like, I mean, Monday is holiday. What is it?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know, but there seems to be a lot of religious holidays. here.
there's a lot of religious
Which
holidays.
is good.
I mean,
And
it's
it's-
good.
I don't
It's good.
mind.
Yeah, I don't mind.
And it's taken seriously. But then everyone, like all the people we meet here, are so chill and casual. And I doubt even that a lot of the people I'm meeting are that religious
Yeah.
at all.
That's true.
But I think honestly, for me, it doesn't feel that different to New Zealand.
I guess it's because the people we're surrounded by, but like
Yeah.
they're definitely like with all the old beautiful churches and like it's quite in the culture.
So I'm assuming majority of the religious people in New Zealand are Christian.
Yeah, but there's just not many religious people in New Zealand. Like most
Alright.
people are atheists, right?
No.
In New Zealand, really?
I don't think
New Zealand doesn't have, in my perspective, it doesn't have that many religious people
when
compared to like America.
When
for
I went
example.
through high school, I had a lot of
Okay.
Christian friends.
Yeah, but I guess where you grew up was quite religious, not where I
And
grew
then
up.
in Dunedin, a lot of my friends down there identified as Catholic.
Right.
So
I don't know.
I think it's a mixed bag. Like from this, like we've got a mixed experience on that side of things. So I don't know.
Yeah. I would say it's not as religious, but I mean, I don't know. That's just from what I've gathered.
Yeah, depends on the circles you're in.
Like, for example, in Germany, I've noticed in a lot of apartment buildings, they'll have this kind of thing that looks like a mathematical like equation on the door. It's like 20x3, I don't know the rest of it. And that is something to do, I can't remember, it's like a Christian thing, and it basically means...
Have you seen this, Winston?
Have you seen it? Like, some apartment buildings, you'll see it on the front of their door. It's like this long thing, which I thought was...
Above the top of the door, there'll be like what looks like a mathematical equation.
Yeah, but that kind of just means they're Christian, I think. It's some kind of thing to do with God, I think.
Oh, I thought that's just the number plate of where you live.
Yeah, well...
Registration.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, no, I've seen it a few times.
And I mean,
Oh, yeah.
when we first arrived in Munich, we stayed with Scarlett's friend's family.
Yeah.
For
Where?
in
Uh,
Kiefengarten.
Kiefengarten.
It was near a place called Kiefengarten, which is to the north, on the way to the stadium.
Not far from the football stadium.
All right. Yeah.
And we turned up there on the first day that we arrived, and it was about 9 in the morning or something like this, and we go in and it's very quiet, but there's all of this, all the Christmas decorations and religious, decorations, all in the house, everywhere still, and this is
It was like midway through January.
midway through January, so Christmas was already, 2 or 3 weeks, three or so weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And they had all the stuff up, and they, I think, take it pretty seriously. And I think actually a lot of traditional German families do.
Yeah, because they keep their Christmas decorations up like all of January.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting.
At home,
They're just being lazy.
No, it's like I mean maybe, but
I
like
think
Well, I mean, like Russians celebrate Christmas in like January, right?
really?
maybe, I don't know.
Like that's what I heard from my Russian colleagues.
Well, for example, at home, we have my mum sets up the Christmas decorations maybe in the end of November, and then on Christmas Day, once everyone leaves, she takes them back down again.
Okay, a very important question.
Yeah.
So in New Zealand, do you celebrate Christmas on 24th dinner or 25th lunch?
Good question. 25th lunch.
25th lunch.
25th
We
lunch.
don't celebrate on the 24th, which is very
Alright.
European, I know, right?
We will.
Yeah, so I spent my Christmas in Slovakia, Czech Republic, Germany, Austria. They all and also Italy. These places they all celebrate Christmas on Oh, not Italy. Italy do it also on 25th lunch, but all the other places do it 24th dinner. And then, so when do you open your gift?
25th morning.
In the morning of
Yeah.
the 25th.
I guess if you're eager.
Yeah, yeah.
So any time on the 25th, yeah.
What's the best gift you have ever gotten?
Oh.
Oh, the gift of life.
Oh my god. I was gonna say I got an iPhone once.
Oh, really? This one?
No, not this one.
Who gave you? Oh, yeah, Santa
My-
Claus. Sorry, basket.
No. Yeah, Santa was really good there.
Just a fun fact, like when I was spending my Christmas in Slovakia, so we were like I was wrapping gift with my best friend Adam, like 24th afternoon for her family, for his family. And then so it's like every gift that I prepare and I wrap the paper, I would sign my name on it because I was like, yeah, it's a gift from me, from Vincent. And then like I learned from him that you're not supposed to do that because it's a gift from Santa Claus, not from you. But for me, I'm Asian kid. I go to McDonald's and KFC on Christmas Eve with my father. That's the best thing in my life. And so we don't celebrate Christmas. So for Asian kids, it's like a new thing to learn that you're not supposed to sign your name on the gift.
Wow, well we do it. I think
You
it's
do
like
it.
if you paid for it, you should take
We're
credit
supposed
for
to
it.
be
And
from
my-
Santa
Yeah, but
Claus.
is it for a child?
In my family, my mum, my parents will put a few presents that are from them.
Yeah.
That they put, and then I guess they'll put a few presents from Santa Claus.
Really?
All right, so it's not like you don't know who is it from.
No.
But it's from them still, but I
Really?
think it's just an obvious. Yeah. No, it's from Santa Claus. Sorry. What is it? Sorry, kids.
Yeah.
No, I think like when you get older, you put your name because it's like, I mean, you paid for it. It's like
When you're doing
it's
like
more thoughtful as well.
when you're doing like Christmas with your friends, everyone will just gift each other with their name on it.
Yeah. My topic. Okay.
So back into segment 2
You ready?
after drinks break.
Yo. Okay, so we just have another drink. Let's continue.
Yeah. Okay. Cheers. Prost.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Much needed top up.
Okay, so I have quite an extensive list of things that I've noticed about Germany or things we have experienced.
Give me.
This one I think Liam's quite passionate about. Fizzy water.
What is it?
Fizzy water.
So sparkling water.
Yeah.
Is that how you call it in New Zealand?
Well,
Fuzzy water.
it's
Not fuzzy.
What do you... Hey, I'm Chinese. I'm not
Fizzy.
native. I'm not native English speaker
Fizzy.
at all.
fizzy.
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 But sparkling. Is it like...
Sparkling water, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
So it's
alright.
very popular here in Germany.
They love it.
In fact, you can get like 3 different types.
They can do
Mild,
wine.
medium, strong. I'm not really sure. But
No,
Liam's
how they call it? Mild, natural.
yeah, and
Who
medium.
is
But-
less, natural or mild?
So they also have natural and I get
And
confused. Like
classic.
yeah, classic. And so
Yeah.
you're like, okay, which one is still water? It's really hard to tell.
They're all water. They just
Yeah.
have like carbon dioxide
Yeah.
inside.
But anyway, Liam hates it. So
Yeah,
it's fine.
sparkling water is not the one. I hate it.
Okay.
I've got 2 analogies to describe what sparkling water is like.
Oh yeah.
For one thing, it tastes like TV static. And
What is it?
it tastes like TV static.
What is that?
You know,
You know that the static
when
on
you
the TV.
press the wrong button on the
Yeah.
remote and it goes. Shh.
That's what it tastes like. Tastes like.
Watching TV is such a like ancient thing to do.
Yeah, that's
You're
true.
alright. Yeah.
And also, it makes me feel like of that feeling when you sleep on your arm too long and you get the pins and needles.
Yeah.
It's like that feeling in your mouth. It's disgusting.
That's true.
And I don't need it.
Like, is it not an order thing in?
You can get sparkling water, but it's just like
I'm getting
never the
used-
first option.
No one
I never know sparkling water until I moved to Europe.
Exactly.
But it's not a thing in Finland, not so common.
Yeah.
But then, like when I moved to here, I get used to it. Like if I go out in a hot summer day, I kind of like
yeah.
it'd be fun. to do that.
I personally quite like it, but
I hate it. I can't believe we've turned to the dark side.
yeah. Anyway, another thing I want to bring up is I'm not sure the proper term for this, but me and Liam call it loogie, hackaloogie,
Hakalugi.
hackaloogie. I said it wrong. But in Germany, we've noticed quite a few people like to spit on the street and like.
I actually have never seen people do that.
Are you
Or maybe
really?
because-
I see it like
maybe
twice
it's
a
because
day.
it's so common in China. So like it's
okay.
like
Right. Okay. Well, I tried it the other day actually.
What?
I'm gonna say I had to try
Scarlett
it.
was unleashing it.
No one
in a-
stared at me because
Do you
it's
want to do
so
it on my
common.
show?
No, I'll pass. Thanks.
You don't have one ready.
No, I don't have one ready. Okay, what else can we talk about?
You didn't really elaborate. on
I
it
have
very
something
much at all.
that I have
Oh, you
some.
want to talk about it?
I have.
I feel like we need to
Can I
elaborate
bring
on
up
all
one
these.
thing?
Yeah, sure.
Like something that I've been talking shit with Scarlett a lot. European make out in
Oh.
public hard.
Yeah, PDA is on the list, so yeah, we're up to that.
Hard.
Yeah. Like, I sent a Snapchat to my friends recently. I was walking behind a couple on the street, and this guy just was going to grab his girlfriend's bum, but he just, like, decided to go in the pants and, like, was digging around in the underwear.
So he
and it
was
was just...
That's outrageous.
It was
He
just
was right in there.
It was too much.
You think he was right in the
Yeah,
crack?
and even in the lazy river
Yeah.
today, there was a couple making
like
out.
I have like that's already too much for me. Like,
Yeah.
like when couples are putting, maybe I have done it as well when I was dating, but like man putting his hand to the jeans, the pocket in the back.
Yeah.
But what you are saying is that
Like-
the hand is like
It's in the pants.
Underneath
it's,
the waistband.
It's in the underwear. It's under the underwear.
it's getting warm.
It's in the nether regions.
Try to find a place to get warm.
But
Yeah, so-
but I mean, for example, like I don't like PDA really. I don't.
If you don't know, they're a couple.
Oh yeah, just for context. So I'm not.
I have never seen that. I spent quite a lot of time with both of you. Like
Yeah.
I have never seen that, which is great. Thank you. I love that.
I don't know. I don't need to make anyone else feel jealous.
It's also just like an awkward.
And well, I don't know if it makes me awkward. It's just my, I guess, social awareness of the situation.
when
Just
other people.
doesn't. It feels weird. But yeah, here they're just tongue down throat, hand.
Especially
in
like
hands.
Many times, like by Isa, we see people making out. It's like next scene is
Yeah.
like
But it's like,
it's about to happen. Like some black and orange logo is coming out, and like
oh my god.
we are probably part of the show.
But it's also like it's of all ages. It's like I actually see mostly like middle-aged, older people doing it.
European love that.
Yeah.
I spent I did a school project in Finland in a high school. In Finnish they call it lukio, and like I was there doing a school project, trying to present the university that I was studying in, and all these teenagers like making out in school. Like if I would do that in my high school, first of all people would think I'm a legend, and like I would get into deep shit.
Yeah.
If I did that in my high school, everyone would think I was gay. Because
You go to a guy school. And Scarlett went to a.
Girls' school, yeah.
Yeah.
Very common in New Zealand.
We don't have that. How does that feel? So like, guys, bunch of teenager kids. What do you talk about?
Oh,
like
wild
Scarlett in
wild
the school
guess.
next. Yeah.
Ah man, I think you know. From a boy's perspective, I was kind of in the group of people that were sort of not like super popular.
Yeah.
But not.
You're a nerd.
But not nah. So you know the guys in the middle that kind of
Nerd.
do both.
Do both.
Kind of can be friends with both.
Yeah.
That's I guess the group that I sat in happily, which
Yeah.
was fine.
What about girls' school?
But in high school, like that did exist. But like, luckily, I wasn't in that world, and like I left school early. But the year after that, from what I hear, that's when like the drama started in like the last year. But I personally think co-ed is like the way to go. Although I had
Sorry,
great
what's that?
time. Co-ed.
Co-ed
like,
is co-education.
mixed
Yeah,
boys
right,
and
yeah.
girls. Yeah.
So I think that some guys and girls are really well suited for a boys only or a girls only school.
How
Like
come?
I don't know, just some people seem to thrive better when they're less distracted, I guess, and things like this going on. Some people,
But
because in my hometown, I was at the boys only school, but there was all the other schools were basically co-ed, and I know that like a lot of my friends that went to those mixed schools, like everyone was just acting up way more, and I think the reason for that is going through puberty and everyone's trying to impress everyone else, so the guys will do stupid stuff
But
to.
I think it's such an important lesson to learn. Like
Yeah.
we live in a society where we have like more than two genders,
Yeah.
and like if you just be in like an environment with like only boys, would you kind of, you know, like for example for guys, would you would you not be able to learn the skills of like handling with like people who have like, you know, other people others and
for me personally, for me it wasn't so much an issue because I've always been very social.
yeah.
But also I think maybe you learn a lot of that in university anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe it's better to get to focus on high school and that, and then in university you learn how to balance all
So
that.
how do
'Cause,
you
like-
date somebody?
Like in my experience when I was in like an all girls school, I think it was really bad because like I didn't know any guys, and by the time I went to film school and like it was mixed, I realized like how much better that learning environment was for me, and like I really liked it. But also when I was in high school, like I was just so awkward whenever I met a guy, and I can see like I don't know if it's a good thing because like I don't know. And then as soon as I started going to film school with guys, I just felt like it just felt way more natural, and I really liked having that other perspective that I didn't get in high school. So I kind of, I don't know. I think it's better to have both.
Me and my friends had a lot of female friends from the girls' school down the road, and and most lunchtimes we would all go drive down there and have lunch with them all.
So in the New Zealand high school, would it be a problem if you are dating in like high school, secondary school? Would the teacher say anything to you?
No, I had a girlfriend for half of my final year of high school. Yeah.
Like in China, it's a big no though.
Really?
Well, is it a distraction?
Because of school performance.
Yeah.
Right.
And as the bad kid I am, like and I have always been doing that. So then makes you like the bad kids to like, but it's big no.
Right.
Like the craziest thing that in my high school was, after I graduate, teachers will be given a flashlight. So after so we live in the school, and then in the evening is the time when it's dark. It's the time you can go out with your little girlfriend, have a little walk. Possibly you can get a little kiss. Those are the time you go do it in the dark in the big campus. And then after I graduate, I heard that like the teachers, they will have a flashlight, and their task is after 10, they have to walk around the school with a flashlight to see if like anyone doing anything inappropriate in like the dark, and like
That's
so
crazy.
you're definitely not allowed to do that.
Was it at high school?
Yeah,
So
high
you
school.
lived at high school?
I lived in high school in like so we're not allowed to get out of the gates. I live with other 7 men
Oh, wow.
in the room, and then so I need to go to school at 6:50. I need to be in the classroom in the morning, and I
That's
will leave
early.
the classroom at 10 and
PM.
in the evening, and I have half an hour before I need to be logged in my dorm, because after 10:30 I will not be allowed to leave my room anymore. So I have half an hour of like doing things like walking around with your friend, having a chat, and then we would need to be in the school from Monday to Saturday, and the only time we can leave is Saturday night. They have a dinner at home, and then Sunday afternoon, welcome back.
Whoa.
That
I
is so
did that for
strict.
3 years. I did that for 3 years.
Wow.
That's crazy. I didn't know there's such a huge cultural shock for other people who did not spend high school life in China.
You'd become very
Wow.
close with your friends.
Or you hate each other so much.
Oh.
Wow.
All that, yeah.
Or you hate each other so much.
Can we go back for a minute though? When we were talking about before how people in Europe, do a lot more PDA and
Yeah, sure.
hang out with
Yeah,
each other.
please.
Something interesting I was thinking about that. Does that make you wonder whether, because we've noticed that like middle-aged people at home, like my parents don't really show like that kind of affection in public with each other generally. I don't know many other people's parents that do in New Zealand. It's just would be kind of weird. Are Germans rather, is there something different where they're more intimate, or they do something that
But
they
again,
like each other more? Or
I
like
don't
what's the,
see people above like. I see only young people doing PDA.
No,
I see a
because
lot of
today
I see
we
a lot of
saw-
middle, I see a lot of more people in like their 40s and 50s.
Like today-
Doing with people at the same
No,
age,
so
or-
it-
Yeah, with their
Yeah,
husband or
Like in the lazy river, there was like,
Like in the
I'm
pools,
gonna
yeah.
say like around 50-year-old
Yeah.
couple
So
like just making out.
I get maybe it's not as common as what we're saying, as what we're alluding to, but definitely more than New Zealand.
All right.
And and it makes me just wonder, like, are they doing something? Is there are relationships here done a bit differently so that there is better, like the intimacy lasts longer, like?
Or it's just more accepted to be like that in public, maybe.
But I don't know.
I think it's
But you wouldn't do it.
being more accepted.
But also you wouldn't do it if you didn't feel like doing it. Like if you really want to do it in New Zealand, no one would really care.
Yeah, it's just people.
So it makes me like wonder about that, you know. It's just an interesting little backtrack.
Before that, is the drink okay?
It's perfect.
Oh yeah, it's
hitting
real
the
nice
spot.
and sweet. Yeah, Vincent, I'm envious of Vincent's future guest.
Fashion, I want to add in. So like in Germany specific, there's a style, raver style.
Oh yeah.
So like I talked with Liam when you just moved to Germany. Like, if we would go to a techno club, what would be the dressing style be? Sunglasses in the fucking mid of the night.
But this type of sunglasses is important.
Yeah, the type of sunglasses is important. And then once you go into the techno club, you will go topless. And then guys and girls will just wear fishnet leggings on as a sleeve.
And black leather is quite
Yes.
big, yeah.
And then like boots that are like this high, and there's like the raper
Stompers,
style.
Yeah.
It's very common here.
Yeah.
It is very common.
Like I'm not saying this that because I want to talk shit on that. It's just I'm saying that how common it is. Here.
And I think people expect that to just be like a big thing in, say, Berlin. But it's everywhere in Germany, though.
Yeah.
I guess techno is a big scene here.
Yeah.
And here, I mean, I work with a guy who's real into that, and he lives his life, and that's great. And then I saw all of his friends the other day; they're all doing the same thing. It's quite interesting. You don't see it.
It's a style here.
It is a style. And I wouldn't think I'd adopt it, but but they can go for it. It's pretty fun. It's pretty entertaining to see.
Sorry to interrupt you. We just have a message from James from New Zealand. Thank you. Yeah, shouting out to James who is listening to our podcast right now. I wonder where he is.
Thanks, James. Shout out to James.
Shout out to James.
Shout out to James Edinburgh.
All right, so I have a few questions for you guys living in Munich about the fact that you're living in Munich. So people have stereotypes about Munich. It's a posh area, people are rich, and all that. And so for you guys, what kind of stereotypes have you heard about people in Munich before you move here, and how much of those stereotypes has turned out to be true?
I think like one thing we talk about, or Liam talks about a lot, is actually more that people don't talk about Munich, and people like when like in New Zealand, people mention Berlin a lot, and people don't mention Munich, and if they do mention Munich, it's about Oktoberfest. So like I honestly don't have that many things people have talked about.
Just to elaborate on that, whenever people that I know come to Germany, they either are going to Berlin or they're going to Munich but for Oktoberfest. So they're not going to Munich just like to see Munich or whatever.
From my experience about that topic is when people talk about Germany, people are like, yeah, Berlin. I mean, also most of the story that I heard, people also mention Munich. But then people look at Germany will be with the perspective of like, yeah, Oktoberfest, yeah, Lederhosen.
Yeah. So this is what the actual question is.
Yeah.
And then like, but all these things are only Bavaria only.
Yeah.
So then people from Hamburg, from Berlin, they will be like, hey, that's not really truly representing Germany.
So I mean, so the German stereotypes are leather pants, sandals and socks.
Yeah, and white socks with sandals.
Yeah, pretzel.
That's specific brand.
Pretzels. Big dudes who love the beer.
Sausages.
Yeah, they love
meat.
the sausages.
But yeah, so all of those main stereotypes are definitely like Bavarian things, and Munich being the capital of Bavaria. It's actually that is super. All of those things are just utterly common. And Scarlett's point before was kind of talking about something else. That was just talking about my feeling about. It's kind of annoying that people, assume that if you're going to Germany, Berlin is where you should go. Yeah. It's like no, but you can hear year round, aside from Oktoberfest, year round it's like that, and it's really fun and interesting. And
but we don't hear that much about Munich.
But we don't hear about. No one talks about it because they only would come for Oktoberfest.
We don't have many expectations because we don't hear that.
But the funny thing is that people from Berlin and people from Munich,
they don't like each other.
Have a little beef.
Yeah.
Like
with
you
each
could
other.
kind of compare it to like Auckland and Wellington in New Zealand. Like people don't tend to like people from either city, but like
Yeah, so basically, people from Berlin think that people from Munich are
posh and like,
rich and posh and
Stuck
snobby
up, yeah.
and stuck up and don't want to talk to you because you're beneath them and things
then it
like
goes the other way around.
and Munich, people from Munich think that people from Berlin are kind of dirty and chaotic and not organised and and all this kind of thing.
Crazy,
So and crazy and too much.
So my question for you guys is, how do you think that Berlin would be different from Munich? Because you guys are going there like in a week.
Yeah, I think like firstly like it'll just be so much bigger. Like it's a way bigger
Is
city.
Munich considered as a big city for you guys?
Yeah,
Where you're from?
compared to where I'm from.
The population here is the same roughly as the biggest city in New Zealand.
Yeah.
But they're still bigger than where we're from.
Yeah, and
Where are you from?
So I'm from Wellington, which is the capital.
and I'm from a town called Tauranga.
Okay.
But Munich also feels a lot smaller than Auckland. Like it's got the same population size, but the city itself isn't that widespread.
It's a nice size.
But it's a good size. It's walkable.
There's enough to do.
But as far as how I think Berlin will be different, Berlin is like huge. Just compared to what I'm used to. I mean, any of my friends that have been living in London, it'll be nothing for them. It'll be the same, if not.
What is this relation of people living in London?
I don't know.
It's just a very common thing for Kiwis to do.
No, he said, what's the population?
Oh, the population.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Sorry. Sorry. I don't know.
It must be
A
like
lot.
10 million or something, right?
Yeah.
More than that, maybe?
The city where I used to study in China,
Yeah.
it's 24.
24
Oh my
million?
God.
And it's not a big difference.
It's like funny, like in that video you made, and you're like, "This is my small town
Yeah,
of 6 million people."
Yeah,
And I was
said
like,
it-
"What?" It's more
said
than the
it-
whole
I said it in the
country.
video that on my YouTube channel about me going home, and then I referenced my hometown as the small town that I live in with like 400 and something million
Yeah.
people, and but that's
That's the
China.
size of New
Yeah,
Zealand.
That's crazy. That's,
Your small town.
That's more than the amount of New Zealanders there are.
yeah.
But I think Berlin will be, it's a lot bigger. I think it's one of those cities where everything you would do day to day in the weekends will be in the city.
Yeah.
I can't imagine we will be doing things for fun outside of the city, like ever.
Because there's enough to do with
because
the city.
there's enough to do there. And there's enough to do in Munich too. It's just that Munich there's a lot of nice nature nearby, which is really cool to visit. So there's more motivation. I think the vibe there will be kind of different. The language stuff might be slightly different because the Bavarian dialect is different.
Yeah. I mean, like, I live in here for more than 2 years. I still don't know any Bavarian.
I know E Mog D.
Yeah. All right. Are we
Okay.
back on?
So make sure y'all is good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're good.
So we do
I
one.
think I'm gonna burp though. Oh, what is my glass doing? Sorry, I'm feeling the drink. I'm feeling Vincent's
Okay, yeah.
sidecar.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
the-
back
I'm-
on on track.
I'm the side passenger. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. I have a question that I want to ask you. So you guys were on a New Zealand newspaper.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
So, but what I want to like touch down on that is, like, it is funny to me that I heard that you guys get hate comments. And that's the part I want to touch. Is like,
Should we read them on the podcast?
What?
'Cause I
Should we
can't.
read them on the podcast?
We can read them. I
The
don't.
comments?
yeah, you can do that. Yeah, find it.
Okay, I'll
I want
find
to see.
it. I'll find
I'll quickly explain. So recently, it was a couple months ago, Scarlett and myself were in a newspaper article in New Zealand where a journalist is doing a series of talking to Kiwis that are living in countries overseas.
Yeah.
But
What's the article called? Like, what's
Um,
the
the
Oh,
newspaper,
no,
yeah.
it's on stuff.co.nz.
Okay, alright.
Yeah, stuff. Big New Zealand paper. And so we got, I guess, approached by a friend of mine to do this, and the journalist sent us the questions, and we answered them, and we kind of thought that it was going to be an article where we were like a small feature in it.
Yeah.
So a couple of our questions might be included.
Yeah.
Instead, the article was entirely our complete response, and it was just about us living in Germany, which was kind of shocking.
And the picture of that is like, I heard that you were drunk on that picture.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna put it here. That is the picture.
Yeah. I was drunk in both pictures, I think, actually.
I'm trying to find.
Why did you pick
comments.
pictures of when you were drunk to submit to the newspaper?
Well, we did. I mean, first of all, they wanted like a horizontal photo, and we didn't have many horizontal photos to choose from. And we didn't think it was going to be just us, so I thought it would just be a bit more low-key. That's basically why. But I'm trying to find the hate comments, but the comments aren't loading. But I do kind of remember them.
So
Why
I ask this question is, for me, that sounds like an interesting story that I would hear. Right, from my perspective, if I'm just like Kiwi living in New Zealand, I would love to learn. Oh, so you two are moving to Germany. How is life been? Right? I just don't understand how could that lead to hate comments. like I just don't understand how that would work.
So from what I vaguely remember,
they're not coming up at all.
Yeah, they're not coming up. Is that like people were, because we kind of mentioned buying a house versus traveling overseas, and I think some comments were like, "Don't come back to New Zealand complaining that you can't buy a house because we moved overseas."
Yeah, so
on that kind of note.
Yeah, so a lot of the comments were basically, I guess, boomers picking apart what I had talked about in relation to deciding to travel or deciding to save and buy a house.
Yeah, right.
And some of them were saying things like what Scarlett just said, like, well, when you come back,
and you will come
back, don't go crying to the government about you have no money because you went travelling, and these kind of things. So
I'm pretty sure his name was Proud Boomer.
Yes,
But how is that their
shout out to Proud Boomer.
Shout out to him, but like, how is that to be their business?
People are entitled to comment.
They love to comment.
Honestly, I
Because
just
they
found
are
it
the
funny.
people who never live abroad, and they don't know the fun about it, and they will just sit in their little home and like typing with their fucking keyboards and be like, "Yeah, why are you wasting your money?
Yeah,
To spend the money to see the world that's bigger than yours."
Yeah, just to be on this podcast, right?
It was interesting. I wasn't expecting anyone to comment.
No.
But to be fair, the article did headline just beneath something related to the royals.
Prince Charles. Oh, not Prince Charles, King Charles.
King Charles. So I mean, it was pretty funny.
It was bigger than what we thought it was going to be.
It was a bigger article than we thought, and I didn't really put that much thought into what I wrote because
I will link the article later in the comments, description.
Yeah.
So another thing that I would like to ask is, so for you guys like living abroad, what has been the hardest part?
The hardest part.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just living abroad in general.
I think
if it was 10 years ago, maybe it would have been being away from my family and things. But I guess now it's not so much of an issue. Like, we haven't been homesick once, and I think the fact that we can just easily video call up our family and friends, it makes it feel like you're not even. You kind of don't even feel like you're far away. You're just in a new environment.
You kind of just feel like you're still in New Zealand,
but
just in a different city.
But you don't feel isolated in the same way from your family. So 10 years ago that might have been my answer, or 20 years ago that might have been my answer. But
I think for me initially it was like friends. I think was really hard, like because it took kind of a while to make friends, and like I miss my friends back home, and that I quite struggle with like wanting to like go out and enjoy the day or try and explore something and just not knowing anyone, which was quite hard. But now, I mean, made some friends, so it's been easier. And then like job stuff has been hard, I think, like trying to find work.
Maybe for me, this is going to sound stupid, but I think for me could be trying to dial back how much I go out and drink and everything. Like at home, I had a pretty stable routine. I would go, like, me and my friends went out all the time, and I was, going out drinking every weekend with my friends and work colleagues. But here it's like, because I'm working in the Hard Rock Cafe in Munich, and it's super social, and every night people want to go out and go drinking. And the problem with that is that people don't start drinking until like midnight. So the amount of times I come back home and the sun's coming up, and I just feel horrible. I just feel crappy the next day, and I feel like my gym routine is slacked. My eating isn't as healthy. Oh, actually, no, my eating's not too bad. But
Sleeping though.
But my sleep, I'm not sleeping as much. I'm not working out as much, and yeah, I'm drinking like a lot more than I was, I think. I don't know, maybe.
So, yeah.
Or maybe it just feels like that because it's on random nights. But I think for me it's just like, trying to control myself, which sounds stupid.
And that would be the hard part for you?
I think so.
Interesting.
I think so because, I can't say no to shit. And I like
you to other opportunity and fun time with your friends.
I don't know that I have to say no or anything, but I feel like my old routine was quite stable and healthy, but now it's not as much. So that's been like maybe the hardest, but not like emotionally or in a deep way. Just something to think about.
It's nice that you guys come together. You have like each other's company.
That's very true. Because like there's like hardly any Kiwis in Munich. I think I've come across 2 like the whole time we've been here.
I think if I had come here on my own, everything would be really hard. Mostly financials,
like rent,
and trying to find an affordable place to live. As you know about. I think that would be way hard. I think coming as a couple makes that easier because you can share the costs. But then you've also got the challenge of living together with your partner, which could be another challenge as well. So
right. Scarlett, what would be your answer to that?
The hardest?
Yeah. About living abroad.
I think like initially it was just like the culture shock and like not having the relatability of like talking to people about home and not having that, but I feel like we're more settled now, and I think maybe the hardest part is like trying to find like work and find people that understand like what work I was doing before, and like it's just hard because and also the language obviously
but now we've got a lot of good friends who are also foreigners, and
it's nice to have someone to relate to.
And I think we all kind of relate together just based on that.
I think that's the thing about people who have lived abroad. If you haven't done it, you don't understand like a lot of things that we would share in common.
Especially especially with the different language. That brings a whole nother thing to it. As opposed to
and I think adding on to that, we also feel a lot more comfortable now because we know we can kind of understand people when they're speaking in German. Not that we can speak great German ourselves, but we can at least understand stuff. And so going through the supermarkets, any retail store, anything like this is so much easier because the like basic stuff that they would say to you. So now it's easy. Like it doesn't feel, at first it was a huge effort. You're kind of
the brain power.
You're kind of stressed out about rehearsing everything in your head when you go to the supermarket. But now I don't even really have to think because either I just don't care because I know they can probably speak English, or I also can just respond in German fine.
The only thing that I learned in the beginning was living in Germany in the supermarket. Mit Karte bitte. Danke.
And you've nailed that sentence. Go for it. Can I pay with card, please? Go and say it.
Kann ich mit Karte bezahlen, bitte? Danke schön.
He's nailed it.
A couple of
that's like what I always use.
A couple of the host staff at the restaurant, they've got a few solid sentences. Well, a couple of them are German, but a couple don't speak much German, and they've got some great rehearsed sentences, and they sound expert.
Works every time.
So that's good. You just got to practice a few sentences, and you're good to go.
So another question that I have in mind is, So what has been the hardest part about living in Munich for you guys? In this city
Oh, I can think of one. It's nothing really to do with Munich, but it's just the fact of like not being by the ocean. Like I really miss the ocean because we used to live by the ocean.
Yeah, that's a very personal.
So like
Ocean?
Yeah.
Yeah, if Munich was by, like, near the ocean, it would be
A great city.
probably my ideal city of all time.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't, it's not like I'm Mr.
Part
Worldwide,
of
but,
Munich.
but like, it would be ideal, it'd be so
I
good.
can't wait for the feedback from you guys about living in Berlin.
Yeah.
Because I might one day. I don't know.
Be there. You might
I don't
follow
know.
us.
Yeah. What is my hardest thing about being in Munich? Honestly, I have.
Rent. I mean, you guys have a good
Yeah,
flat.
yeah.
Like,
We've got a
you
good-
share too. Like,
we got,
really
we
lucky.
got
you
lucky.
live in like the
yeah.
very center of Munich.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something corny.
Yeah.
Leaving.
The hardest part.
European make out in
Oh.
public hard.
Yeah, PDA is on the list. So yeah, we're up to that.
Hard.
Yeah. Like I sent a Snapchat to my friends recently. I was walking behind a couple on the street, and this guy just was gonna grab his girlfriend's bum. But he just like decided to go in the pants and like was digging around in the underwear.
So
And
he
it
was
was just.
That's outrageous.
It was just.
was right in there.
It was too much.
You think he was right in the
Yeah,
crack?
and even in the lazy river
Yeah.
today, there was a couple making
like
out.
I have like that's already too much for me. Like,
Yeah.
like when couples are putting, maybe I have done it as well when I was dating, but like man putting his hand to the jeans, the pocket in the back.
Yeah.
But what you are saying is that
Like-
the hand is like
It's in the pants.
Underneath
it's,
the waistband.
It's in the underwear. It's under the underwear.
getting warm.
It's in the nether regions.
Try to find a place to get warm.
But
so
yeah, no, yeah, and but I mean, for example, like I don't like PDA really. The hardest part about being in Munich
Yeah.
is probably for me leaving Munich.
Yeah.
I don't really want to
That's
leave.
a
you know.
very good way to put it. Like
I honestly,
I'm gonna miss you guys a lot.
I think there's a friend of mine at work the other day was complaining. So she recently came here with her fiance, and didn't really have a lot of choice in the matter because he's from here. And she was saying that she doesn't really like it because the attitude of some people, the German attitude of, you know, being kind of a bit blunt and shitty sometimes, and she finds that really, really hard. And I see that as well. Like sometimes people can just be super rude, unhelpful, won't take responsibility for anything that they don't have to. But I also think that a city is what you make of it, and if you like make some good friends and just enjoy your day-to-day life and do stuff when you can, when you're not working, it's fun as hell. Like Munich's got a lot of everything. It's got, you can go surfing, you can go snowboarding, there's nice parks, there's a river to chill at, there's social,
lakes.
there's a lot of social life, there's a lot of good
so
bars.
many cultural events here.
Yeah, there's
That's
so many
true.
cultural events.
Like we too been to a lot
Yeah.
for like various reasons.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not common to have that.
Yeah.
No,
And
and
Munich
there's-
is like have it all.
Yeah.
and
that's
there's
true.
like there's the football, there's Olympia Park, which is just amazing to chill out in.
English Garden is the biggest garden in Europe as well.
Yeah.
English Gardens,
Yeah.
like Munich's actually really nice. And yeah, Berlin will be sweet too, but I don't know, it just makes me think Munich's underrated when I consider all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Or Munich could be also overrated. I don't know. Like
could be some
I feel
people
like
say,
Munich is such a popular destination among European.
amongst Germans,
Right.
everyone, a lot of Germans want to be there.
Like European have like maybe for us like out of Europe like is if you talk about moving to Germany, most likely in your head is about Berlin.
Yeah.
But European I heard a lot that people like would be like, you know,
I think the biggest,
keen to like move to Munich.
and I think the biggest Munich obstacle is the expenses.
Yeah, well, but I
Yeah.
mean, to be fair, if you work here, you earn the you earn the salary they will
Not
offer
necessarily.
Depending what your industry is.
you.
That-
I
because
wouldn't consider
because
that.
I'm the least qualified person to say that.
Yeah.
but,
all of the research that I looked at before coming here agreed with what you just said, but and what I found trying to work in my profession here is that I cannot get paid as much as I would get in New Zealand, and that's honestly.
That's a bit of a
That's
actually a
surprise.
very interesting touch. Would you mind sharing what you do for a living?
So
Professionally?
so I'm trained as a land surveyor.
Yeah.
And I graduated 5 years ago, so I've got 5 years of experience back home in New Zealand, and here so it's different from city to city, but in Munich there's like 5 big companies that do all of that kind of work, and if they don't want anyone, or if they've got too many staff already, then you're kind of just screwed, and and so that's just kind of how it is, and the pay is a lot less and I think the reason for that is because it's just not valued in the same way as it is in New Zealand,
it could be.
and you don't have in New Zealand you have to most surveyors, a lot of surveyors did a Bachelor of Surveying degree, and here a lot of them are people that did architecture or any kind of engineering or something like this, and so it's not as much of a specialized profession, I suppose. So that was pretty hard when I got here, like having to
because I can imagine for both of you guys it must be hard, because you are not like me that I just started working for like a year, and you guys have been working for the past 5 years. And coming here and then struggle to find a job.
Yeah, like we had good jobs.
We had really good jobs.
So maybe we were
Yeah,
stupid.
And I miss everyone that I used to work with back in New Zealand. And then to get here and then find out that not only like did no one really need me in Munich that much, but also that I could not get paid anywhere. I would get paid less than what I got paid as a brand new graduate. After all the training that I did, it was a bit disappointing. It was a bit frustrating and disappointing. So
would you have any regrets about your decision about moving to Munich?
I don't think it's good to have too many regrets, but I think, I don't know.
I have no regrets.
I don't have regrets, but I'm maybe I would like to try a few other places in Europe, maybe.
Yeah, for me it's been
it's just that the language I find is hard to get work. If it wasn't for the language, I think I would be able to find work.
French or
exactly.
It could be harder, but
London would be the easy option.
I think from considering my expectations of the types of things I would do and see, it's basically lived up to that, except for the work aspect. But no, I don't know. I'd do it again.
Yeah.
No, we've had a great time here.
Yeah.
This question I have it quite presently for me and my future YouTube video. What has Munich mean to you, and what do I mean to you during this part of the journey of you staying in Munich?
Oh, that's a nice question.
That is a nice question. That's
awesome. So what does Munich mean to you is the first part?
Yeah.
I think Munich is
I can link those two things together quite well.
Okay.
I think.
Do you want to go then?
So obviously we came to Munich, not Scarlett knowing nothing about it, never having been here. Myself only been here when I was really drunk for 4 days. So I guess it's a bit of a risk. You don't really know what's going to happen. You're kind of taking a chance. When we met you, we had no idea who you were. Just some random guy that
I met on Facebook.
That Scarlett met on Facebook due to similar interests. And it was kind of, I guess, just taking a chance on meeting someone randomly and going out with this guy. And so for me, coming to Munich and doing that, and meeting and just becoming friends with you, has represented a time in my life where I've really enjoyed and decided to jump forward and take risks, because for me personally, I feel like I'm not much of a risk taker, and I like doing sport, extreme sports and things. So I think I'm a risk taker in that sense of the word. But as far as life things go, going to university, getting a job, doing all big life things, I'm not a risk taker. So this for me represents taking risks, and it really works out well, and I like it. So to me, it's it will be a really fun part of my life to look back on, and I'm really glad that I just went ahead and did shit and said yes to stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. For you,
Saying
Alex.
yes, yeah. Well, I think like Munich is just like is gonna like represent like our first time like living here and just like the whole experience. But obviously, like when meeting you, it was just like really cool to finally like have like a filmmaker friend, and like we have been working on this documentary together, which hopefully will be out by the time
Next
you hear
week.
this podcast, and like all the experiences we've had together, like sneaking into concerts, which also hopefully will be out
I
soon,
couldn't appreciate more.
and like just like all the experiences we've had just because we start like from that first time meeting you is like doing that has like led to all this, and I'm like really grateful for that. And yeah, I just feel like it's just like we've had so many experiences and just all from this one little decision to post on Facebook if I could meet anyone in the Yes fam, and like yeah, I'm just really grateful for what we've experienced just from that one little action. Yeah.
That's beautifully put.
And it's and like from your point, I think from you, Vincent, like you're super outgoing and just you come up with you know, you kind of get an idea in your head and you're just like, I'm just gonna do it, and like not really hesitate, and that's like a really important lesson as well, like not hesitating when you want to do something, just do it, even if it, you know, it could have been that we met up and it was just horrifically awkward, or like just not not the one at all. But like you were super nice and friendly, and obviously at first I think the main difficulty was you weren't used to our accent, so that's quite challenging. But
I get used to it.
Exactly. So it could have gone, you know, you never know how that kind of thing's going to go, and so I think it's a really like good thing to take away and think about, and just maybe use that experience and future stuff and say, look, I paid off in the past, why shouldn't I just do shit?
like even with our documentary, I'm like, even just like with everything we've done, it's like at least we tried it, at least we can say we did that, like rather than always looking back and regret like why didn't we try that. It's like I just think like there's so many things that I'm like, well, at least we've tried it.
And I think to all of my friends that are, you know, coming over to Europe and doing that kind of stuff now, or whatever they're doing, or if they're sacrificing that for wanting to save for a house or things like that, everyone's kind of taking, you know, making a decision and taking a risk no matter what they're doing, and but it's really important to just like say yes to shit and go ahead and do it and not really hesitate too much.
Don't know where it will
and
lead.
So I think like becoming friends with you and spending this time in Munich has represented that for me. Maybe I could do to say no a bit more, to be honest, to big nights out. But yeah, overall.
I love that. Thank you for the answer. That's beautiful, and I love each of you, from the bottom of my heart. And like for a little bit context, like how I met Scarlett was she posted a post on a Facebook group on the Yes Fam of Munich, and I saw it in the morning after I woke up because I was bored. And I was like, I will give it a try. I meet all kinds of strangers, and then it turned out that we are both in love of filmmaking. And then from that on, we built up our bonds, and we started like have our little video project. And I'm so glad that you are the perfect type of friends that I could have asked for. That we are so aligned with what we want to try. Yeah. Like that's so beautiful. Like
and we both like push each other. Like we're both like, oh, I'm not sure. The other person's like, let's just do it. Yeah. And then we do it.
That's the beautiful thing, that we are so same with this podcast. You guys have been so supportive to me, and like it means a lot to me. And we have been doing that for the past few months for the very limited time that I wish it could have been longer. But for the very limited time that we have in Munich, we have made the best out of it. And
definitely.
Yeah, we have been working on a documentary. We put a lot of
heart and soul into
it. And like, it's gonna like I'm gonna show them the first draft after this podcast. Last question before we wrap everything up.
Yeah.
So, what would be your expectation about the future of you guys leaving abroad?
Oh, that's a really big question.
That's a broad question. That's a broad question.
I would like to say just see where it takes us.
Yeah, so I mean the way I see my life at the moment is I've got 3 options over the next year. Either I'm going home at the end of my visa, which hopefully not.
No, you are not. You have a job. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, you do have a job. Congratulations.
Or I am continuing with I like this job offer that I've received and I continue with that and I get a work visa and stay in Germany for a lot longer, or we move to another country and get a different visa somewhere else. I mean,
Try a completely different thing.
yeah. At this stage, I'm really enjoying Germany. So and I've started to pick up more German, so I think there's no reason to lose that momentum. And even my Spanish skills have been more in use lately as well, because some of these guys here only speak Spanish and German, so I've got to use what I can. So I think it just, for me, it represents not, like, for me, my expectations are, honestly, it's like a foggy cloud. I don't know what's going to happen. I know my options, and we're just taking it one step at a time. So, honestly, yeah, to me, like, one step at a time, I think is fine. As long as you're living within your means and being good to yourself.
Yeah.
What about for you, Scarlett?
Yeah, I think like also just honestly just seeing where it goes, because like I never would have thought I would have done this like path with you and the film stuff and the sneaking in, and like I just don't want
amazing wild journey.
a wild journey, you could say.
Yeah, a wild journey. Yeah.
I just like don't want to think too far, because I don't know, things happen quickly and I just want to take every day as it comes. So yeah, just see what happens. Yeah.
Yes, that is.
Yeah, that's us.
I think that's it.
Maybe.
Alright.
Oh, my camera just stopped.
Okay, that's the signal. So the 87 is that, and my camera is still rolling. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace!
Thanks, Vince.
Thank you.
Alright, thank you!
Wait.
Oh, thank you so much for
No worries.
supporting this.
I was getting a little bit dry.
Cheers, mate.
Alright.
That was good, I think. I think that was really good.
Okay, we're gonna stop everything and then we just on our own.